welcome back. I am Ashley Hydrick, your Southern Lesbian, and how was your Thanksgiving? Huh? I kind of want to punch November in the nuts. Just saying, November was a month. Yeah, I hope yours was good. I hope y'all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope that you chose to excuse yourself a lot to go pee or walk the dog or whatever you had to do and kept some family peace at the table so y'all could just get through it and enjoy your day and enjoy your loved ones. I hope it went really well. Y'all, I was looking at last week's podcast for a second, when I was editing, and I was like sitting at the desk and hat on the jacket. I look like a freaking politician. I can't wear those jackets on. What? Anyway, so here we are. I'm standing again today with my coffee. Y'all like this mug? Isn't it cute? So today I want to respond to one of the questions that's been coming through on the DMs. You guys are sending some really thoughtful questions through at this point, which I really appreciate. So let me read this one to you real quick. Stand by, because y'all know. So this is from Suzanne. She's on TikTok, but I think she listens here too. Hi, enjoying your quest, but would love to hear your thoughts about distance and relocation as a factor. I think it takes a solid year to know someone. I'm not U-Haul culture. Well, you're a lesbian, so you might be. I'm just kidding. And relocation is a big step, especially when we have a home. Would love to see your thoughts as you travel and search and how this subject comes up for you. Thanks. Okay, so let's talk about relocating, y'all, because I know I've mentioned that a couple times and people have thoughts. People feel a way about that. So all I can do is answer how it came up for me personally. I think it 100% comes down to, well, first of all, yes, I agree with you. I think you got to spend at least a year or so getting to know somebody, right? I mean, things can move fast, and in lesbian relationships, sometimes they do. And because we're women and we're intense and we ask all the hard questions up front, and I think that's super important, it is still important to spend that time and see how people navigate life and its challenges and react and respond. And, do they navigate conflict well? To me, that's the biggest sign right there, is how do you navigate your conflict, right? Anyway, all that aside, that can come after you actually meet your girl, right? Let's not put the cart ahead of the horse, Ashley. Okay, for me, the number one thing about choosing to relocate or not, or anything in life, is learning to trust your gut. So if your gut has been pegging you a little bit about, hey, this might be something we should look at, then I think you need to lean into that and just get curious. And mine was doing that, y'all. Now, for years, I did not trust my gut because I had a slew of relationships that weren't that great, So I did a little bit of work with a life coach, a lot of work with a life coach, as y'all know. She kind of taught me how to work with my own intuition and learn which thoughts that I have are fear-based and don't serve me, and to learn to sort of say, shut up and sit down. Nobody asked you. And which ones to really pay attention to and get curious about. Little things big things, like anytime I've had that urge in my life to relocate or move, which I've done a few times at this point. I always know it when it comes up and I start getting that little curious nudge, and double Sagittarius, y'all, with an Aquarius moon. So we out here exploring shit. Yeah, it's always just this feeling that takes over, that I just know that things are coming to a close in one place. I sit with it, I get honest with myself, and I'm like, it feels like there's nothing more for me to explore here in this space that I'm in. And that's what I felt when I lived in South Carolina when I was a kid. Moved to Atlanta for a while, was there for a while, and then knew when that hit, and there was the urge to go explore the next chapter. And I'm not saying it's easy, every time it's challenging because you're leaving people behind. You may have a calling to go do something else, but it's hard because you're leaving people behind. Now, in the age that we live in, thank God the sweet baby Jesus made the Instagram and the Facebook and the TikTok and the Zoom and FaceTime. He knew we were going to want to stay in touch this way, y'all. So, I'm grateful for that. And I think that, social media, if you use it wisely and if you follow people who don't make you feel a way, then I think it can be super helpful to a lot of people. It was helpful to me. I found so much inspiration on Instagram, actually. So again, let's just go back to this question from Suzanne and this last time where I literally left everything and sold my house in Los Angeles. I had 2 cars, y'all. I had a motorcycle. I was a fun lesbian. I made a lot of big lifestyle changes, stopped drinking. I just really wanted to hone in and listen and get clear on what was happening. I started feeling this way around 2019, I guess. I just knew that I had sort of carried my life there as far as I feel like the trajectory just wasn't going up anymore, if that makes sense. Like in work, things were stagnant. I wasn't meeting a girl. It had been several years since I had met anyone that resonated with me on a certain level that I wanted to date. And my parents were getting older. And so I've always gotten some of these nudges when I'm listening to music, and certain music. And I think that music carries such an interesting vibration, and we have to be really careful what we allow ourselves to listen to, because I think that the music, I think the music influences our moods. You know what I mean? Like, it's been really interesting for me. I know I tangent y'all a lot. It's gonna happen, but let me just get through this. So, music that I listened to when I was younger and I was I didn't know I was angry, but I was kind of angry. I know now that I was very angry about a lot of things, and the stuff that resonated with me was harder. It resonated with me, it vibrated with me on that frequency of where I was, right? And so that's not a bad thing. It's just, it's kind of, as I look back at the music that resonated with me at certain eras and stages of my life, it's like, oh, I can look back at that and go, oh yeah, I was pretty pissed off during that time. Look at this era where I just wanted these like moody, beautiful songs to sing and maybe cry a little bit too and get things out. I know what era that was, right? Around 2019, as I'm starting to sort of have these thoughts and starting to think about what would life look like if I picked up and left Los Angeles and tried something different. And my family, you know, I was having these just pangs of like, I'd never tried living back around my family again as an adult. And I love South Carolina. I think it's so beautiful, and I love my family. So I really just had always been curious about it as to what that would look like after doing some of this work, and what would it feel like. I sold my house. Well, it wasn't that simple. So COVID hits, and we're all locked in our homes. You know, for the first few, however long, you're just sitting at home, and a lot of people are drinking. A lot of people are still, you know, doing Zoom parties. Remember that? When we'd sit on the Zoom once a week with our friends, and we'd have little Zoom parties and stuff, and that was an interesting time. But my brother sent me a playlist. Like, we would try to share music and stuff, because you're craving entertainment at that point. You've gone through everything on your Netflix. You've gone through everything. My brother sent me an artist named Sarah Jarosz. And I listened to her album, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. She's a singer-songwriter, a little bluegrassy. It is bluegrass, but sort of progressive. God, when I listened to that music, it just, obviously, because it's very Southern, called to me so strongly. I knew. I was like, okay, this kind of feels like a sign, because I didn't ask him to send me something like this. And I felt it. I just felt it. I don't know how else to explain it. So I was sitting with that, and that was hitting me in the gut a little bit more. And then during the height of the pandemic, my dad got really sick, and I was flying back and forth to try to help out there a bit. And then we lost him. So at that point, I went, okay, this is crazy. I need to get my ass back to South Carolina and at least give it a go. I don't want regrets later in life. So, you know, that was a catalyst for sure that pushed my ass out of Los Angeles, because I might have sat there a little bit longer. I was comfortable, y'all. I had a nice place. My best friend lived right down the street, and we saw each other every week, and that was really nice. So it was a hard decision, really hard decision. But I made it, because again, it's when my life hits those places where I'm feeling stagnant, where nothing's growing in my life, where things aren't evolving the way I feel they should be, that I feel like it's time to shake things up. And I felt like I needed to shake my life up in a pretty big way in this instance, because everything was feeling stagnant. So I sold the house, and I did have a little bit of money to move forward with on that. I went to South Carolina, bought a place there, and stayed for 2 years. Also, I forget to mention, during the pandemic, you know, you're watching TV, I'm watching all these new shows, people are recommending stuff, and I started watching a lot of the new British shows, and they just were putting out amazing content at that time. It was like, you know, Fleabag was already out, but season 2 and whatnot, and then Killing Eve came out, and then The Crown, and I'm trying to think, I feel like there was like 4 or 5 shows that I watched back to back that I was just so blown away by the talent in the UK, but also just watching those beautiful backdrops, you know, where they were shooting, and I was curious about it. I'd been to Europe many times and had never been to the UK, and I'd have friends that said, why don't you go to London on this trip? And I was like, well, because it seems a little stuffy for me at the time. You know, I don't think I was ready for London. Anyway, so watching all this stuff, it started to really deeply resonate with me, and I wanted to check it out, and I was very curious about it. So after giving South Carolina a shot for a couple of years and realizing that, you know, it wasn't gonna be the spot that I dropped anchor, it was really nice to be back there for a couple of years and spend more time with family, but it still didn't feel right. I was like, okay, this is meant to be a touchstone, you know, a launch pad again. And I think it's right that I bought a place there so that I can go back and forth, and I rent that out now. Great. Anyway, so I decided right after I sold my house, before I bought the place in South Carolina, I decided to just explore the UK a little bit. I booked myself, you know, I had some money after the sale of the house. I know everybody doesn't have that, but I don't know what your thing is. I don't know what your big, you know, quest is that you want to uncover. This is just what I did. I booked myself like 5 weeks to travel the UK, and I started with a couple weeks in London, and then I went out to the Cotswolds, and then I went up, drove, you know, up, and through some beautiful scenery, and went into Liverpool and explored around that area a bit, and York, and then drove back down the other side of the country and came back down to London ultimately, and stayed a couple more weeks in London on the other side. Y'all, I just freaking fell in love with it. There was not one thing that I didn't love about this country, and I thought, wow, this is speaking to me in a big way. And I knew that I would like it, but I didn't really expect it to be like on that level. I just felt alive when I was over here. I felt that I was lit up. I felt that I was going to meet my girl here. I just really felt that. I was like, this resonates, this feels right. I gotta trust this and try to figure this out. From South Carolina, still living in South Carolina, I had to figure out how to start dipping a toe into being here more, right? Because it's expensive. I didn't know anybody here. I was looking at Airbnbs here, and they were just so expensive, and I was like, I can't, like that, it just doesn't make sense. What am I gonna do? And then there's the visa, of course, and the whole thing. And do I wanna work? What do I wanna do, you know? So a friend of mine told me about this website here called Spare Room. I think it's spareroom.co.uk rent, you know, and it's kind of like Airbnb, how you just rent out a room, but specific to the UK. So I looked on that, and I really was resistant to it, because I'm like, I don't want to be in somebody's house that I don't know in another country. That just kind of freaked me out. But the life coach I was working with at the time encouraged me to do it, and she said, well, Ashley, you know, those people are going to know things. They're going to be able to explain things to you. You'll have people that around that can answer questions. And I'm like, I hate it when you're right. But I took a chance and put my profile up there, and a woman reached out to me and wanted to chat. So I said, well, would you mind, you know, like, can we set up a Zoom, and how many other people are in the house with you, and can we all get on the Zoom so we can meet each other and feel comfortable? It was just her and her boyfriend. They're in their like mid-60s, and I met them, and they were just as sweet as they could be. And she's a potter and an artist and had her home studio at the house, and I was like, oh, she's an artist. Like, she's gonna kind of get why I'm so passionately drawn to doing this and figuring that out. Then he is a playwright, like a former playwright, and now he's entrepreneurial and has his own little businesses he started. And I was like, great, he's entrepreneurial, like these people are they're gonna get me, this is gonna work. They were really kind, we had a great conversation, so I went for it. And I think I booked it for maybe like 3 months the first time, just to come and see how it felt. And I wanted to start getting my butt out there, and I'd never ridden the tube before, you know, I had to like learn how to do that, and that was great. And then I had to learn different areas of London, and I wanted to go to the meetups and start going to some of the lesbian events and just seeing what the community was like here. And I really liked it. I looked around and I was like, wow, there's a whole new pond of fresh people here that I can meet and build community with and possibly date. I liked the people that I was meeting. I met some nice people. So then the next step, of course, was, you know, I was only here for a couple months at a time, but I started collecting a few friends, and we stayed in touch while I would go back to South Carolina, and then I would come back and we would meet up again, and then we'd go out and we'd meet more people. And so that was all great. And that sort of, you know, everything was happening on track, right? I just kept re-renting with that same couple every time I came back because it was just easy and I knew the drill. And I did that probably 3 times or so before I decided to try to be a little bit more solidly here. If you can find an estate agent that's willing to rent to you without a visa, I found that to be incredibly challenging. You know, I ultimately did find one, but you've got to have a lot of money up front for something like that to happen because they consider you a flight risk. So FYI, like, it's not something you can just do and figure out when you get here. You really have to make a plan. Long story short, here I am, and I was feeling a little bit more settled in my choice of being here. And that's when I felt really comfortable diving back into the dating scene, because why would I want to start dating somebody if I was not going to really be here, you know, and if I was going back and forth and didn't really know what life looked like. My projects at the time were a bit all over the place as well, and I just felt like the world was my oyster at that point, and I could make whatever choice I wanted to. And I chose to stay in London for part of the year. You know, my dream is to be able to go back and forth a bit because I do love the UK, and I think it's calling to me really hard. And I also love South Carolina because all my family's there, so I want to be able to go back and see them. That's important to me. And I also love LA because some of my best friends are there. And I have such roots there now too that it's important for me to be able to go back there frequently and see people. So a bit of a just all over the place at the moment, but I like it. It kind of feels right. So cut to this year. I did dip a toe back into dating because it felt right now. Like I was feeling a little more settled, a little more planted, and dated a couple of really nice girls that, you know, it was great and things felt right. They felt better. I even though things didn't feel right with them, I felt like it was right for me to be here, and I could notice, like I've talked to you about before, that, you know, the dating progression was getting better in terms of the resonance of who I was seeing. So then I met a girl who just lit me up like a freaking Christmas tree, y'all. And I know she watches this. Hi, babe. Y'all, she's a good one. So I would say, you know, this is a success story because I'm listening to my gut. I'm continuing to listen to my gut. It's all still real new, but I like what I'm seeing. I like what I'm feeling. I like the way we vibe together. You know, I'm blown away by the things that up front we had in common. One of the first things that she did was start to send me music that resonated with her, and it is some of the most positive, uplifting stuff I've ever heard, and I'd never heard any of this music before. Thank you, babe. And it just means so much to me that there's someone that I can share that with and resonate with on that level and enjoy, because I love music so much. I'm a drummer. I love music. You know, I've always been around music. Got musicians in the family, and it just means a lot. There were just all these little synchronicities, and we talked about it. We started a list because there were so many. Some of them were stupid little things, y'all, but the synchronicities that we had were just like, whoa, this is worth paying attention to. Who knows what the outcome's gonna be, but I do absolutely know to the core of my being that I'm supposed to be here right now with her and navigating this. And I can see already the ways that we're starting to work through conversations and grow by the things that we share, the way we communicate, how we're learning to trust each other. And it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. So thank you, gut. I think my gut did really well. I'm really pleased. I'm really happy. And maybe at some point I'll be able to tell y'all more about her. We'll see. Like I said, she's very private, and I respect that. I am very grateful to be here right now. And if I hadn't listened to my gut, then I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't have found her. Here's the weird part, y'all, and she knows this. You know, it's just like when I saw her, I mean, I just immediately knew that I needed to approach her, and I've never approached anyone, I don't want to say as aggressively, but yeah, kinda. You know, I mean, I was not gonna let this girl get out of my clutches that night because I just felt something really strongly about her. And so here we are. But obviously not everybody owns property that they can sell and pick up and move to another city, you know, or country, or whatever it is that you're feeling called to do. But I don't know what your calling is. You know, I think everybody has to navigate that for themselves. I don't think everything has to involve a lot of money to start. Like I said, sweet baby Jesus made Zoom, he made all these online platforms. I see y'all on the TikTok wife shopping. I see y'all chatting with each other, and it's really cute. Some of it's a little creepy, let's be real. But some of it's really cute. Listen, I know that I have a really high tolerance for risk. I've been told that a lot. Again, double Sagittarius, Aquarius moon. I do. I have a high tolerance for risk. I am willing to take that leap of faith if it's something I feel really strongly about. And some people aren't that way. Some people prefer the feeling of security over that. And I understand that, and I don't know what your past is that has brought you to that point, but I know that everybody has their own valid reasons. So everybody's got to navigate this on their own, right? But again, it just all comes back to, what does your gut really tell you? Do you trust your own gut? Do you know how to trust your own gut? Do you know the difference in the things that come up that are reactionary and fearful? And I still have them, y'all. Ask this girl, she'll tell you. She will tell you. I still react to things. Just because I've done a lot of work on myself does not mean that, you know, all of a sudden you're just this new person that responds perfectly. I mean, I certainly try, but I have my moments. Point being that these little things, you know, they'll flare up, and I have to sort of take a step back and, again, get to a regulated space where I can think and breathe and process normally and go, oh yeah, I might have been wrong about that. Let me just take a step back for a minute. I'm still learning to navigate those feelings that pop up, that some of them feel big and exciting and maybe a little scary in the moment. I think if I can just set them to the side for a minute, whether they're inspiring or fearful or whatever, I still need to set all those big decision type things to the side. Really spend some time like in meditation or going for walks or listening to good music that puts me in a happy mood, playing with a dog, being around horses, being around somebody that you love, just anything that keeps you, you know, feeling like you're in a good space. That's the place you want to be in when you make decisions. Do not try to make big life-changing decisions when you're feeling like this, because you're not going to choose wisely, y'all. You're going to react to whatever is going on that's tumultuous. If anything, like that's the biggest thing I can tell y'all is just try to find that space where you can get clear with yourself and then sit with that for a while. And does it keep coming up? Does it feel right when it keeps coming up? How does it feel? That's all I know. That's all I got to tell y'all. I will say that I think my gut steered me right on this, because I'm much happier here right now. Because even though I miss my friends in Los Angeles, for sure, it still just feels right. I'm excited to be here, you know, and that's the difference. I was no longer excited to be there. This to me feels like a world of opportunities. You know, obviously there's the new person that I'm dating, and I'm very excited about her. There is a whole world on this side of the globe that I've seen part of, but I would like to explore some more of. So I like just geographically sitting over here. I like that I can have London possibly as a hub for leaping off to all the other projects here, there, and yonder that I'd like to do. I think it's a good, nice central space to come and go from. That's all I can tell you. It just feels right. It just feels right. And I will continue to go with this feeling as long as that's the case. And if it starts feeling not right, then I'll sit with that again and I'll listen. I'll try to figure out what that means next. But right now, it feels quite good. So that's all I can tell y'all. I hope that helps. I know that was a long-winded answer, but you've met me. So yeah, here we are. Thank you again so much for being here. Hopefully this resonates with you. If it does, tell me where you're from and let me know, you know, like, what are your thoughts on this type stuff? How do y'all feel about U-Haul culture? I don't think you should move too fast, but I do think it's important to have those big conversations up front and, you know, start trying to integrate some of that stuff and just seeing how it feels. And if you guys have more questions, got another one I'm going to try to address maybe next week. Feel free to send me questions like that. I love them, and I'm happy to just tell you what I know. Again, you know, I only know what's from my perspective, but I'm happy to share that with y'all. Thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me, and I'll see y'all next week. Okay, bye y'all.